We engage in authentic conversations about our weekly entrepreneurial goals while exploring business, failures, success, and personal growth.
We're going to continue to work and get better at this, so thanks for tuning in.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Our vision will highlight a diversity of guests who are creatives, industry leaders, and individuals creating positive change within our communities. Join us on the Our Vision podcast.
Our shared journey to become better humans.
It's not only our vision, but it's your vision too.
FSU.
So, how are you feeling about doing this podcast? How have you progressed? Have you noticed anything with yourself?
Things that I've noticed. So this is like on the spot too.
Yeah,
so
do
we
you
haven't had
feel
much.
You've gotten better in any areas? Do you feel like
Well,
you
it's
could get better?
Yes, I think I can get better. It's funny because you start to listen to all your little, I don't know if they're tics or things that you do repetitively. So I use the word so a lot. I've been trying not to say that word. Not easy. And so I don't know if you've noticed any words like that for yourself. Like sometimes you find like, it's kind of like,
I've reduced because I'm doing all the edits for the most part. I've picked up on my little annoying tendencies with speaking. So I think I've reduced a lot of that. There's a few that I still use, and so is one of them.
Yeah, I do.
And kind of. I say kind of a lot.
Can you think of any other ones that I do?
No, I don't think you have certain things that you say, but they work well with the way you speak.
Okay, well, thanks.
Like they're intentional.
So I'm trying to figure that out a little bit. And then the other thing, I believe like I've become more comfortable with sitting here talking to you. I feel like that's starting to happen. I was like, when we first started doing it, even the few that we didn't release, man, it was uncomfortable. You just know the camera's there. It's like this third head looking at you the whole time.
I remember the first test we did, I could see that you were uncomfortable doing it, which I was surprised.
And I know, like, you probably figured that, he's going to be fine doing it because he doesn't mind talking to people. But no, I was not fine. So I'm still working through that a little bit, but I feel like we're starting to get it. I feel like they're starting to happen to flow.
Yeah, I haven't had any meltdowns lately.
Yeah, you guys don't get to see the meltdowns that he's talking about. I don't know if he's even going to describe them.
Just the negative self-talk and getting frustrated with myself,
trash.
saying that I, like, getting in my head, telling myself that I suck.
Yeah,
that I screwed up something.
It was really difficult for you though. Like when we first started, like we had to work through that together, trying to communicate back and forth, and then trying to come up with a format and talk to each other. And you're like, sometimes it was not an easy evening for you to sit down and talk to me.
No, and from where I'm at right now, I still am trying to get past everything that's going on in the background to have like a comfortable conversation with you. I'm still working past that.
And to me, it's not just equipment. Just to cut in real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is here, but there's another layer to it. Is also like, I feel like I'm an authentic man. You know what I mean? But I feel like I know this is being recorded, that it's going to go out to somebody, and that changes the way you think about your words. If it's just us standing here, and I know I've said this before, but it's a little different than when there's something not recording us the whole time. So I'm still struggling with that. I don't know how you feel about that. If that plays a role in with all this stuff also, it's like another layer for me.
Not as much. I mean, I'm not worried about anything that I'm saying, and I don't know if it's that or for you.
It's the permanency, like it's permanent when you say something. That's what, because I think of growth and I think about some of the content that we're doing, it's ongoing. We're learning new things. We're trying new things. And so I worry about saying something now that's not going to be the same, maybe even in 2 weeks, 6 months, or a year.
But that's what it's about being human. What you say today may be a totally different way of thinking than 50 episodes from now.
And I think that's going to happen. And that some of that concerns me, if that makes sense.
It doesn't concern me because we all change. Like, we're not the same person that we were yesterday.
And I think I'm acutely aware of that. I think that's why it weighs on me a little bit as far as the podcast goes. That I agree with you. We do all change and everything. And it's just, in life, we don't usually have things recorded.
I'm excited to see the change from where we were and how much we've grown and changed over time.
From episode 1 to 30 and then from 50 to 100.
Yeah, just to see the progression.
Yeah. So, and I did notice today we were taking a phone call today, and for a split second, correct me if I'm wrong, the way you were communicating today, I could see the podcast in you a little bit. Like the openness.
I've noticed like
there was a section.
My anxiety's dropped slightly when talking to people. I feel more comfortable, I would say, and keeping conversations going, where in the past it was difficult for me because of anxiety.
And I felt like today, not that you're not an authentic person, but I could feel like you allowed yourself to be authentic openly with verbal communication today in that meeting. And I thought for a split second in my mind, I was like, man, I wonder if any of this is connected to the, of course, the podcast and some of the growth that you're going through within business and the way you're handling yourself in your personal life. And I thought that was really interesting today because I know you're pretty, like, your best friend, man. You know what I mean? I feel like I know you pretty well. So when I see things like that, I'm like, oh, okay, I see that growth. You know what I mean? So I recognize that today. I just wanted to bring that up. And I don't know if you sense that too.
I do. Yeah. I'm aware of it. Yep. Like I reflect on that, like how my interactions are aside from this podcast. And I notice it. I notice it's helping me. So I was going to think if there was anything else. We've tried a few different formats over the last from 1 to 30. And I know we talked about the struggle is real. We kind of fell off the wagon a little bit on some of the goals that we had. We've had some struggles that we talked about openly in the previous episode. I was wondering if there's anything that you've learned, what works best for you as far as format goes right now. I noticed from the beginning, because a lot of the stuff in the beginning, we were kind of winging it and just, we would think about some of the things that we were going to talk about, or sometimes we didn't. And then we went to a format, I would say, when we got close to episode 10, we started outlining it.
And 12 and 13 started feeling better.
And I still want to use that format too. But I feel so much more comfortable today at, what's this, episode 28?
Yes.
Than I did when we were doing the outline. So I feel like I could go both ways now. That's how comfortable I feel now. I'm not saying that I'm going to be comfortable every episode, but I feel so much more comfortable now. And I think you can see that.
Yeah, I can feel it. Totally feel it. Yeah.
I like this. All this too. Is starting to fade for me, but it's still there. But over time, I'm going to forget all that's there and that a camera's watching us. When I see the camera there, I picture the audience watching us, and it's going to fade over time.
I like that format too that we came up with. We would sit down and bullet point a few different ideas out, quite a few actually. And you know what else I like about that is we can go back and look at each episode almost that had an outline. And to me, that's kind of a nice archiving for us. We keep that all in Google Docs. So yeah, I think that worked out well. And that got us over the hump of that uncomfortableness that you were talking about. You had to find a way, it seemed like, to be able to sit here, have a conversation with me, and at least have a guideline, linear guideline to go with. And that really helped us. Like, I feel like that.
It helps because notes for me help because I don't want to miss any information that is relevant to what we're talking about. I don't want to spew out information and miss something that is important to the audience too, like with them learning on their path.
Especially if you're given something and you're leading other people to deeper information. You want to make sure it's accurate. That's the one thing too, is we always want to make sure what we're saying is accurate. So we're not trying to like blow smoke or anything like that. We really want to be able to give accurate information and not mislead somebody to down a path or do something that would jeopardize their future or their goals or something like that. So yeah, so that's nice to have those notes sometimes to check in on.
We're not always going to be perfect with everything because we are human. I don't think anyone is.
Yep, we all poop.
We're going to make little hiccups and mistakes here and there. But we're pretty good at correcting those.
The other thing I've enjoyed, and I wish we could get some more guests on, I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah,
I really
we need more guests.
I had a Ohio Voyage magazine reach out to me or something, and there was a list of people in there that had done the self-questionnaire and put themselves out there as they're doing different things, creative types. I thought we might want to reach out to some of those people and see if they ever wanted to be on. It's a nice list in Ohio, Cleveland area, Columbus.
Did you reach back out?
Yeah, they sent it.
They got back with you?
Yeah, there was and I might be saying the name wrong because I'm not hyper-focused on promoting that way, but they sent out a questionnaire and they'll do a spot highlight and throw up eight images. And I thought, well, as a photographer or visual creative person, I might as well do that. Yeah. It doesn't cost anything to do, and at least it's up there. But it gave me a better idea for our podcast too the other day, and I hadn't shared it with you yet. Is like, wait a minute, those are some other creative people doing some things. Maybe we should reach out to them and see if they want to come on and talk about what they do.
And they have
from
a huge list of other people too.
Yes. So I thought maybe we could reach out to them and come up with an email for the Our Vision podcast to talk to them and see if we could, like, maybe when they're done, it's actually embed that into their magazine so they have those individuals' story verbally in a connection with us. I thought might be an interesting idea to do.
And I would like to explore offsite conversations too. I do like having people in our space, like in person, but I would like to explore.
Yeah, I would be completely comfortable.
Other options too, if we have to.
Yeah, and I would kind of welcome it too. I think it'd be interesting to go meet some other people that way.
So I'm going to look at the technologies behind that. I have some things in mind. So I think.
Well, I wouldn't even mind if they were close enough to go to them also, like a combination of doing something
that too, which we have.
Yeah.
Things didn't pan out.
Right.
They will. But yeah, I'm open to that too.
So
like traveling, meeting people and setting up shop at wherever they're at. So
well, I'll put that on the list then. Maybe we can think of something I'll fill out that questionnaire, do a spot, and then also reach out to them and see what their feeling is about doing that.
Yeah. So to clarify, we were going to have guests, but some things scheduling changed. So we're going to reschedule some of the interviews. I don't like to say interview, conversations.
Yeah.
But
I agree. It's more of a
conversation. But we do need to make that a priority too.
So I was trying to think what else I came across. So the format, we talked about getting over the hump, which I think we have. I mean, I don't know that I've gotten over the hump yet. I think I'm there though. It's definitely a stronger conversation with
apex.
You that feels more relaxed. You don't feel as anxious about things. It doesn't cut off. We don't have to re-edit anything. I guess that's where I was at. My thinking with you is like, works out pretty good. And I think we'll continue. And even tonight, we didn't have a whole lot that we were going to talk about tonight. We were struggling for ideas, topics. And you thought this might be a topic. And it's kind of cool sitting here thinking back of what we're doing, and still kind of goes along with our goal of doing this. This is one of our goals, is to try to come up with a format that works well for us.
Yeah.
And explore that. So anything else that you can think of that?
I've learned a lot through the editing process of this too, with both of us, just sitting, listening to the conversation. It's helped me a ton just listening to myself speak to you or the guests.
Yes, because it takes quite a bit of time to go through it. I mean, we go back through, when I'm speaking, you cut out your audio. When I'm, vice versa, we go all the way through, you chunk it out. So it does take quite a bit of time each episode. If we do an hour a week, it's over 3 hours or 4 hours worth of work.
Yeah, it's not bad though. I enjoy doing it. I think that's the important part of it is I don't ever get bored with it. When we finish up, like tonight, I'm ready to get at it and start editing.
Right.
Which it's not always that way with editing with me.
I know this.
Sometimes I get burnt out with editing. But this podcast, I actually enjoy doing it. Even though it's hard, it's a struggle at times doing the podcast, I still enjoy doing it because it's kind of challenging to me. And I always like a challenge.
I think it's new too. And I think we see the benefits that we can, it's part of what we wanted to do, accomplish this along with our business, to have this platform to be able to talk to other people. And I think that's also like, we're into it. We want to do it.
Yeah. And I just think we've learned a lot with life lessons and business entrepreneurship things. So
I'm trying to think what else this has helped us do.
I think,
what else is there?
I think we'd be dumb not to do this.
Yeah, it makes sense for us to do this. Absolutely. I agree with you that, and we know from doing other things in life that you're not going to be great at something at 28 of them.
Right.
It's like, I just really, there's not many things in life that you can do 28 times and you're an expert, or you're,
takes thousands of hours.
Right.
Like, how many hours have we done so far at episode 28?
Or 28, maybe 28 hours, maybe. Well, over 28, because some of the first ones were longer and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So probably about over 30 hours. So we haven't even worked a full work week. Now, most jobs take 6 months to a year, depending on the complexity of your job, to be really proficient at it. So we have to give it a fair chance too, I think. And that goes back to what we've been talking about, goal setting and moving forward for other people too, and ourselves. It's like, you can't just start something and do it for 2 weeks and say it didn't work. Right. So that's the same with this. Like, you got to put the time in, you got to put the effort in to sit here, do it, go through the bumps, feel uncomfortable, mess up, trip over your own tongue. This is a whole nother art of communication, to talk to people that are not in front of you, but talk to you and still make a value to it for a listener. That's not an easy task. So we're learning to do that. And I think along the way, we will find people that will want to listen. And hopefully we get to meet people that are doing some incredible things. And, we're going to get a chance to go, and we're not going to go into too depth, but we were having a meeting today with the gentleman. I can't wait to work on this project that we've been asked to work on. So with the video production and what we do, we get an opportunity to meet some incredible people. And, I'm excited to continue down that path.
You'd be another great one to have on.
That's what I was
thinking of that
yes.
earlier.
I really would like to. I would even be willing to go back down there to see him.
To talk a little bit about what we're doing this coming weekend is we're helping a friend contacted us who we've done work for in the past. And he has a friend that became paralyzed
from the neck
down like a couple of years ago.
Yes. And wait, I want to say something real quick. I want to interject because I got really excited, and you've seen when it happened today. I'm listening to him, and it wasn't our normal meeting of discovering what we're going to do to create a message for him to get it out. And as I was sitting there listening to him, this guy's attitude was, it was amazing. Like, for him to be that motivated to do what he wants to be doing really dug deep into me. And I, as a matter of fact, asked him how, I was just blown away. I was almost speechless at part of it. But so you heard it too. He had a really great attitude.
For such a tragic thing to happen to somebody, it's pretty inspiring. With such a tragic thing like that, how many lives you can change by leading by example like he does.
Yeah, just in that one conversation, I was like, I can't wait to go down and do this. With his
enthusiasm, not wanting to give up, finding a cure for people that are paralyzed.
Right. And he said
that have had spinal injuries. And
he said, I refuse to accept this as my reality, I think was what he said.
Not only changing people's lives that have been affected by accidents, spinal injuries and things like that, but like us too, and other people that hear them speak, because I want to meet more people like that, because then it makes you value
puts everything in perspective. I'm over here, I got an injured back tonight, and I'm just like, you know what, it could be worse.
You know what? It could be worse.
It could be worse. You know what I mean? It really could be. I was like, when we went down and visited with Sarah Lee for Waypoint Vets, it changes when you get around these people that are doing things that are helping people. For me at least, it changes my life, like the way I think. Yeah. And you're like, it's impressive when you meet people that it's one person. Sometimes it starts these movements, and then the next year she's got 12 people working around her, and she was able to double the excursions she's doing, and she's able to help that many more vets. And when I was talking to this gentleman tonight, I can see the same thing happening with what he's about to do. I don't know if you got the same feeling.
Yeah.
But I certainly got the feeling that he's going to reach into people's lives that are beyond his own, and he's going to do it with his brain at first. And I hope that he someday gets to walk and do it.
Yeah.
And,
so we haven't learned a ton yet with what we're about to learn this weekend by speaking with him, but they're close to, as he said, turning that hump and finding a cure for. There was a term?
Two methods. There was an injection one, and then there was one where they stimulate the spinal cord.
Yeah.
And the one they're in, so like he said today, they start with rats and they move themselves up to pigs and eventually to humans, and it goes through first trial, second trial, third trial, FDA approved humans, And one of the two, either the injections or the stimulation, I'm not sure which one it is, they have worked it all the way up to the second phase. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
I believe that's what he said.
It'll be the second phase.
It'll be the second phase.
Yes.
And I believe they're doing that in Australia right now. And he wasn't quite sure why the FDA why they were working along those lines. And they're doing it on healthy people right now to see what that, I think this was the injection
to be sure that it's safe for the human body.
Right. So, but moreover, I think, and we'll get more into eventually promoting what he's doing when we get done with the video production end of it all for him. But what's really interesting is that these people that, I don't know, I'm struggling for words, and I don't always do this. To me, it's truly amazing to listen to him today. I can't wait to spend time with this gentleman. And for somebody to have that desire to want to not only help himself in that situation, but to help others in the way he's doing it. I believe in what he's doing, and I believe we can bring something to the table, and I hope we can move his project forward in a way that will exceed what I can even imagine. That's what I'm hopeful for.
He could have easily given up on life.
Yeah, without a doubt.
From his circumstances. But he didn't.
Oh.
And he wants to be a catalyst
for change, yeah.
Cure happen.
Yeah.
Which is fucking awesome.
And he's got a good plan, and I'm not going into the plan tonight, but he's got a really solid plan for bringing awareness to this and funding and to help other families. Because the other thing he explained, I don't know if you caught that tonight, when he was talking about when not only when he became paralyzed, but how that reaches out and affects everybody around you. It affected his families in ways that, the mother quit her job to help take care of him. The father's working out of state to make enough money to bring to him for at physical therapy. Was he saying like $450 I forget. I mean, it was astronomical, whatever the cost was. And I apologize that I don't remember. We were taking in a lot of information today. It was the first time we'd met him. So I will store all this in the future and get more information for anybody that'd be interested in listening to the story as it grows. But that's amazing. Like he does have a support system around him. His brother, his mother, his family, or sister, and they are all making sacrifices. And he brought up that point. It's not just the individuals that's paralyzed. It's also the family unit around you if you have that support. And thankfully he does have that support. But and that's why the awareness needs to continue for people like this, because they need these medicines and they need the treatments. They need physical therapy, and these are all very costly. So I'm excited that he's willing to. I'm impressed
to move forward. All of this.
Yeah, here's a guy who can't stand up, who has mobility of his neck up and has a goal and is pursuing it, and has multiple people around him working on that goal with him. He's already sucked up several people that are going, yeah, I can buy into this. Puts things in perspective, doesn't it, Brad?
Oh yeah.
Well, like how do you not get up and I don't know.
It keeps things in perspective.
It does.
So the more people you meet like this, the more it keeps you on your toes. Like,
yeah,
maybe I'm thinking the wrong way. I'm not thinking about the people that are going through tragedies and still pushing through it. So Yeah, it's inspiring.
It is
to
inspiring.
me. It is.
It goes back to, we had an episode, and I wish I could think the number we talked about, surround yourself with the right people. And I feel like going down and spending time with him, he's the right people to be around. I felt that way about Sarah Lee. I feel that way about a lot of people in my life that are very decent people, but being around people that want to move forward and accomplish things in life and help others. And he's definitely going to be one of these people. I think once we connect with him, we'll be a friend for a very long time to come, I hope. So
what really stands out to me, we were watching something not too long ago. Who was the motivational speaker, the documentary? What the big name guy? Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, yeah.
It's actually a pretty interesting documentary.
I never watched it that much.
I never got into the whole Tony Robbins motivational speaking, but he had somebody in the audience that came that was really profound with like what she had been through.
Oh, yeah.
So
the sexual abuse and everything
yes.
that woman went through. Yes,
and I just felt
that was the part where you look at him and you go, all right, I can buy into this. And the connection he made with that woman and how he set her up. Sorry.
When people go through that stuff, it's like I always have the sense of like, how do I comfort that person for what they've been through? But like, how do you even do that? So what he did was he flipped it, and he is helping her to help others that were in the same situation as her. So I'm using that as an example for other people that are going through a hard time. And I think it's important for people to think about like not only themselves, but they could use that to help other people that are going through the same thing.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like what I'm saying? For example, like he's the gentleman we're going to shoot the video for this weekend. He's using this to help cure people that are that have spinal injuries,
right,
and that are paralyzed.
Yeah,
she's helping people that have been through sexual abuse, and we've met some other people like Sarah that are helping veterans that are dealing with PTSD, with survivor guilt, and many other issues of war. So I think it's important for people to really think about that. If you've been through traumatic experiences, taking what you've learned from that and helping other people.
Yeah, I think, you're right. And so what he did was, in the case of this woman from Best for Memories, he empowered her to be able to set up a way to help other women or other people that have been through this. And I think you're right. I think you see that sometimes in individuals.
I don't know if I'm saying that
the
right way, but
yeah, I got your point.
Because like we all go through shit in our lives. And a lot of us will sit and feel bad for ourselves.
Right.
When I'm starting to realize that maybe we should take that energy to help other people.
Well, that's the compassion.
Through those.
That's the compassion part that comes out in you. So you realize that people have been through rough. Like when you've been through some stuff, it makes you more compassionate, less judgmental, and those kind of things. And when you see these extremes, like you're talking about, they can relate to a lot of different people and be able to help them. And I think using that energy is healing for them when they're helping other people sometimes. That's exactly, I think, what I'm hearing from. Well, that's what I'm hearing from you. I mean,
I just didn't want to say it the wrong way and come across as like, oh, don't whine and help other people.
No,
I'm not saying that you're whining. It's hard. There's any kind of traumatic experience or whatever it could be, depression. It could
I think when we go through trauma, there's a spectrum of time that sometimes you have to sit in that for a while to get on the other side. It takes time to heal, especially when you're talking about these extreme things. So no, I don't think. But I get what you're saying. You don't want it to sound like
I don't
suck it up
because we all go through it. Like I go through it, you go through it. But it puts it into perspective when you hear these other stories.
Well, and the other thing is you can't realize this if you're not engaged with community, society. It's hard when you're once removed and you're not engaging and meeting these kind of people. It's really hard to participate in a meaningful way. You have to be in it You have to be working with these people. You have to be talking to them. You have to be learning from them. You have to be listening from them. And when you get these opportunities to listen to these people and firsthand see how it's touching people's lives, it's hard not to be changed. It's hard not to start to adopt that compassion and start to realize, oh, wait a minute, there's another side to the story, and it's more dimensional than you can ever imagine sometimes as you start to get involved with it. We're not military people, but standing there watching these military men and women talk a few weeks back definitely impacts you in a way if you're really engaged in there for the right reasons. Same with this gentleman. It impacts the family when a son or daughter or a mother or father becomes paralyzed, but we don't live that every day. This is an opportunity for us to go learn about how it affects the family, and they're opening their door to be authentic and tell this story. I think that's a really important story, and they're not the only ones suffering. I don't even know what the statistics are in the United States or worldwide, how many people are paralyzed. I have no clue. Something I want to look up before we go. I've never even thought about. I know it exists. I've had friends that are in wheelchairs and wheelchair bound, but I've never looked up the statistic on that. Do you know? I don't know.
I don't know.
So how many families are being affected? I don't know. It's something I want to know now.
I'm sure it's a significant amount of people that are dealing with this. Right. But to find a cure for this, that would be revolutionary.
He used the word.
And they're this close.
He used the word relief. That's what he used.
Yeah, he did.
Today.
That's the word
he said it would be, and he used that intentionally, relief. And I don't think he means just for himself.
Yeah.
He was very honest about how this plays out for the people around him also, which is also amazing. He's not just living in himself and saying, he realizes that it's affecting the other people around him. So I also found that, I don't know, I'm struggling with words when I talk about this gentleman. Commendable. For somebody to be in that position and still be,
it's an honorable thing that he's doing with the position that he's in.
So,
like, he's not sitting around waiting for something to happen. He's taking action.
He is. Yeah, he's moving forward with what he can right now, and that's his brain, his mouth, and he is mobilizing his goal through us and through other people that he knows, and he's doing it. He's writing outlines or however he's doing it, or having people helping him, or about, that's another thing we got to talk. I want to learn a little bit more about that. Mm-hmm. How do you collaboratively work with somebody when you can't write? Are you asking? You know what I mean? So he's found people to actually put it on a document for him, which is, amazing. So I'm very, very happy to work with him, and it takes away some of my excuses as a man. That it just takes away some of the excuses. But back to the podcast. So this is what the podcast has taught me also, is that we have such a great outlet to meet people, tell stories, and to interact with people. And I think we can bring some amazing stories as we get better to people all over the place, and they can check in, listen, and hear what people are doing. And, hopefully they'll enjoy that. I think there's some value to that. And I think it'll, if you really are into it, it'll give you insight like this story. It's going to give us insight and be more compassionate as a human. And I don't think there's anything better than that. I mean, that's better than money. That's better than any financial goal that you could ever set, is being more compassionate.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people talking about all the negativity in the world and, this terrible thing happened, but you rarely ever hear people talk about the powerful things people are doing, like this guy and Sarah. So there's a lot of good going on in the world, more than you can even imagine.
Yeah, your focus, I always say I'm not blind, but that's not my focus, is going to be all the negative.
Right.
I mean, I understand people are suffering on this
planet.
Yeah,
I'm totally aware of the bad shit that's going on in our world.
But we need to redirect that energy sometimes to the things that are really positive in our communities and the people that are really striving to make that happen and connect people to that, because that also saves lives. When people have purpose, it saves their lives. We've seen that with the Waypoint Vets mission.
Yes.
It's saving lives. People are getting connected again. It gives meaning to people. This gentleman that we'll be working with, the money that he raises will help families that are experiencing this, right? So those are really positive things, right? And So even though negative things are happening, positive can come out of that. But it takes people pulling together like the Sarahs in the world. And this gentleman will be releasing whatever he has probably on our website too. We'll connect everybody to these organizations that are raising money to help families and veterans. So anyways, yeah, I'm trying to think of something else I learned, Brad.
Well, I think we're at the end of.
You think? But I got time. I don't want to end it just yet. Give me one more.
If you have more to say, go ahead.
I was just trying to think though. There's got to be something
You're
else.
You're editing this one tonight, too, by the way. So
what else are we? What else have we learned from the podcast? There's got to be something else because we only named a couple things.
I've learned a lot from the people that we've had on. Like some of the things that they've said to us has stuck in my mind.
Okay.
And I go back and remember some of the things that our guests have opened our minds up to, I guess.
Right.
That's another thing. I'm sure there's more things I could think of.
And the other thing it's taught me is like it feels good to accomplish something weekly. Because there's not it's like we've been holding to it now for how many weeks? If we're on 28.
Yeah.
So we're doing it 2 times a week. So
doing something every day and every week.
So
whether we're on track with what we should focus on or not, we're still doing something.
Yeah. So that, to me, that feels good. So I'm learning that, not that I haven't had other successes in life where I hold to something, but this really is anchoring us. We're getting on and doing it. So just wanted to bring up a couple more things there. Because there are several benefits to this podcast, and we appreciate anybody that's listened thus far, and we appreciate being patient with us and letting us grow into being better at this. So, and what were we going to say?
I was going to ask you, is there anything else that you can think of that's helped you with doing this, or you've noticed change?
Yeah, I've noticed that you and I have had some discussions while we've been doing this and how we get a better flow going. So an example of that is sometimes when you say you get stuck, right? Just give you a few seconds. You know what I mean? And so I've been working on that, and I think that's helped because sometimes if I speak too quickly, it washes away for you and doesn't give you a fair chance to say what you got to say. So we've been like working on those details. And I think that's been beneficial for me too.
Well, yeah. And I think the flow's going a lot better now too. And I'm starting to see what each of us bring to the table. So I know you like to speak your mind on things, and I like to give you that time to do that too.
Right. So we're trying to work that out. And then
I'm not as outspoken as you are. So I'm okay with being patient.
Right.
But I know what you're saying too.
Yeah, I think that flow has worked better, don't you?
Yeah. So I think I would beat myself up too overly with some things. Overly beat myself up.
Right.
Because I would go back and do the edits and I would notice that it wasn't all that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was beating myself up.
So you learned that too. Yeah, that's one thing you have. Yeah. You're like, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was, Joe.
And I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
But I think it feels better now.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we all have inside of us. Like we always beat ourselves up. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not whatever your thing is. I think every human has that. But that's hard sometimes. It's important though to get past all that and realize that.
Yeah.
Let it flow in and flow out.
We're all going to be dead one day, Joe.
It's all going to...
We have to go back to that.
We're all going to die and find out we live in a raindrop.
All of this is not going to matter one day when we're all dead.
Nope. But yeah, so those are probably the major points I can think of, Brad. I can't think of much other things. I'm sure there's other things, but I'm not thinking of anything else. I just wanted to fully explore that if we could. So,
yeah. I think I've covered everything that I've wanted to say on this.
So the next time we talk about this,
I'm sure more will come up in other episodes, but yeah, I think we should follow up on this again at
50?
50?
50.
Which that's coming up quick.
50.
It's going to be here before you know it. It's going to be here in a couple months.
Right, so it'll almost be another 20, right? So
yeah.
I think we'll revisit that. But thanks, man, for sitting and talking. I know I was lost for words a couple times for that gentleman tonight, and I'm glad we're learning, and I'm glad we're doing this, and I'm glad we're staying consistent with it, even if it's sometimes there are times where we're tired and we might not feel like it, but we're still doing it, right? So
yeah, we gotta stick to it, and be consistent and be accountable.
That's right. So we're
not giving up.
Thank you for pulling all the equipment out tonight, and
I hope your back gets better. Joe's like, I don't want to complain about it.
No, I did. We went to the dump and we lifted a big trash can full of plaster, and I slipped in mud. And I don't know how heavy this trash can was, but it was pretty.
Yeah, it was.
Now Brad's also like
a couple 100 pounds, probably
at least. Yeah, it was at least that. Yeah, so
you'll heal.
I will heal. So, but thanks for getting everything out. So
got it, man.
All right, keep moving forward.
Peace out.